With the millions of videos uploaded to the platform every single day, there has to be some weird ones, right? Well, that's what we're going to be getting into today, as today we'll be discussing the most weird videos uploaded to YouTube Iceberg ever, Layer 3. Hello and welcome back to the Hole in the Wall. Today we'll be discussing Layer 3 of the 9-layer world's or most disturbing YouTube videos ever Iceberg. Now, again, just to recap, the last 2 layers we did, they were much more horror based in their content, and you had very classic videos that if you watched the videos before, or if you were on the platform pre-2016, you would know about those videos. Today, Layer 3 is where we started getting into the stuff that I knew, and I had to start doing a lot of extensive research for. So, if you're interested in Layer 3 and beyond, well, join me, as today we'll be discussing Layer 3 of the most disturbing, of the most weirdest videos on YouTube ever Iceberg. This layer, as I did say, it is a lot more, it's a lot less videos that were horror based and a lot more, and this is where we're going to start getting into that flip where it's a lot less of this disturbing videos on the platform and it's more weird videos on the platform. We're actually starting to get into the weird aspect of the iceberg, as our first entry is St. John videos.
I heard you're doing the hand thing today. God, what is that? Shay, what is it?
If you have not heard of that name in a while, I hadn't either. But this would be a channel about a character named St. John, created by Eric Fonder back in 2006 to 2007. But the channel has since been deleted, but has actually had an archive re-uploading their videos in 2017 and onwards. Sadly, Eric would die in February of 2010 at the age of 42 due to alcohol-induced internal bleeding. Now, Shay's most popular video would of course be Hand Thing. These would be weird videos because, again, not just nervy character design of Shay, but of just the camera style. Again, these were made back in 2007 to 2006, where again, you wouldn't get crystal clear audio or visual, and that with the design of Shay, St. John, would just be very, very weird, as Shay, as the character, has a weird origin. So apparently it was originally, I think, like a dancer or something, and then caught a disease which caused her body to sort of, I think it was like fall off. Parts of her body would fall off, and then she would replace them with like mannequin pieces. I think that was the story that Eric wanted to tell. There's a huge video, and maybe I'll cover these videos later on, but that was what the main story for Shay St. John was. And then of course there was just the channel, but there was also a website, there was also movies. This was a whole big thing, and if you were back in the early 2000s, this was a huge weird story, because again, you would originally see it on YouTube. But again, sadly, again, both Eric and his original channel would be deleted, but of course would be revived with the help of archives. Hi Stranger.
It's been a while. I've missed you. It's okay. You can look at my butt.
Now, this was a stop-motion animation created by Kristen Leeper. It's just a naked guy laying down, talking to the audience about what they've been up to. Honestly, looking at the character on the thumbnail, I thought this was gonna be a lot weirder than it really was, but it was just actually pretty comforting. If you have a minute to just sit down and listen to a weird anthropomorphic naked man, I would suggest you watch the video, as it's literally kind of calming. He has a very calming voice. He talks about very calming things. It's a very calming video. Jimmy Neutron, Happy Family Happy Hour.
Hello Jimmy, hello you. I am going to make a delicious dinner meal.
Jimmy, your mom is dead. Do an order of pizza for dinner.
Now, this is a classic video. Be a 3D animation depicting a distorted version of the Neutron family as they would get killed by each other or a flying pizza. Now this short would be coming out in 2013 by Seinfeld Spitzen. I think that's how you pronounce it. And when I say this video was everywhere, it was everywhere. You had it on the Find Bros React channel. You had everyone like, for some reason also, this would be considered a horror video, and some people would consider it a comedy video. Personally, I consider it a comedy video because I just found it way too funny. They even made a second video following the success of the first one, and it's just very weird. I kind of want to see the original voice actor for Jimmy's dad come back, and because he does a lot of cameo stuff, I want to see someone try to get him to actually do the voice for that animation, and then just like mend it in together, you know, or blend it in together. I think that'd be super funny. But yeah, this one's a very iconic one. Seen it, you've seen it. If you didn't, you didn't. You want to now? Well, now you can. Chimpanzee. Now this.
That's one of the powers of the witch's eye. I can make it look like my normal eye. What is that? Look, a scroll.
This would be an animated HRG depicting two puppies as they try to save kittens from the witch. But this show would be more known for its bloody jump scares and eerie footage more later on down the line of the ARG, as the more you watched it, the more distorted and less colorful and less vibrant and less kid-friendly the ARG would become. And of course that would be the whole point, as it was an ARG. Now, there is a lot to go over in this entry into the ARG here, and you know, a lot of it is completely gone, as again this came out originally I think around 2013, so I would actually suggest you guys go watch Scare Theater's video, and I'll leave that down in the description. Actually, I haven't even said it up until this point, but every single video you want to watch that is on this Iceberg can be found in the description, except for some of them more later down the Iceberg. Like literally the last part is the only one where some of the entries won't be given down in the link in the description because YouTube TOS, but again, Scare Theaters will, and Poochie and Pansy's website will. Also, for some reason, every time I like think of Poochie and Pansy, the only thing that keeps getting played over and over in my mind is the Gangadiddle, and I don't know why, I just found that word pretty funny. It's from the ARG, and like that was the item that you had to find, was the Gangadiddle, and like, I don't know why, it's just a funny word to say. Gangadiddle. Marine Morigar Gillescorf. Now this would be another iconic horror video, as it would be a video depicting a man looking at the screen as his eyes go all around it. There's some red lights and I think some eerie video or some eerie audio in the background. But what is more known is the story where if you end up watching the video, you end up ripping out your eyes and sending them to YouTube, which was the creepypasta at the time. Which I don't know why a lot of people believe that. Maybe because the video and then the story, people would just be too freaked out to really realize, but how would you send your eyes to YouTube if you can't see? This video would come out originally in 2008, creepypasta just a tad bit after. It's just a weird video, it doesn't hold up. Someone please, for the love of God, remake this, because I would love to see a better version of this be created. Lee Hardcastle Animation. Now, Lee Hardcastle is a claymation animator who started his journey in 2009 and is known for his dark and twisted animations on well-known animated characters. I think his most well-known one is Simpsons Couch Gag, be his most known video. Understandably so, it was a very violent one, but also very much felt like it could have worked in like a Simpsons Treehouse of Horror video or episode. This is a weird one that I didn't know. Poodle Exercise with Human.
Hi, I'm Mariko Takahashi. Can you guess who this is? Yes, it's me. You can't believe it, huh? Thanks.
Okay, so let me explain what this looks like. So basically, it's an aerobics, like a 70s, 80s aerobics commercial. It would be this woman with huge Popeye-like arms dancing with people wearing poodle mask and like a full fursuit. And you would say, and they would be doing cardio work. Now you would say, okay, that's a weird video on its own, you know, but not really as weird as anything else we've seen already on the Iceberg. What would be more weird about it, I think, is just the backstory. So this would actually be a commercial created by Panasonic, yeah, the camera company, ahead of the 2004 Summer Olympics. Whose idea was this? Just like with layer 1, or I think it was, no, it was layer 2, Little Baby Ice Cream. Who signed off? Who said that this was a good idea? Who? Look at those dogs. Look at those dogs. Who thought this was a good idea? Who? Girl in Russian woods. Now, video of this would be a hoax video released back in 2009 of a little girl levitating off the ground and her mother being right next to her, and the camerawoman and her dog ending up stumbling upon her. Now, even though I said this is a hoax video, there still hasn't been anyone that can definitively prove that it is a hoax video. It's been around for so long, and they go back and say whether or not it's real. As, again, videos from 2009, really it's more harder because there's not really a lot of internet archives, or, you know, most of the channels that would upload the stuff would just be re-uploads of other videos. David Landowiski videos. Now this would be videos of 3D animated humans getting morphed into these very positions as they just go for a normal walk with some very hyperactive music in the background. These would be, of course, created in 2011. Landowiski would also be the one who would create the music video Hurting. And that's what you're going to see more on this list as we get more down on the layers. As I said, even though they get much more obscure and weird, you're going to start noticing that these videos were just the earlier projects for these creators. As when you look at their catalog now, and even some of the ones back in the day, they created some very imaginative and just groundbreaking things, and it's pretty disappointing that some of their most well-known stuff is some of their earliest and or just flat-out weirdest projects, when some of their most stuff is just kind of left to the sideline. Like, again, David Landowiski's most popular video is literally just a man walking with funny music, but he created such a very nice and pleasant music video and song called Hurting with Flying Fires, I think was the name of the band. And it's a really good song. Leaving all these down in the description down below if you want to see any of these things that are on this iceberg, go and look at the description. Carl Maynor. Now, this would be a weird, highly edited video of a high ear-piercing sound with flower background and colorful colors. Now, this one actually, I actually went so long without remembering this video, as this video I hadn't seen in years. And really watching it, I remember the old days, and I remember exactly where I saw this video. I saw this on a BHD, Blasphemous HD Top 5 reaction video. And this is such a weird video, as I don't think it's ever been explained why or who made it. Now, the theory was that if you would watch it, you would have a, limited time until you would die. Which, again, totally made up. Everyone who watched it lived. It's just a weird video for, I think, weird video's sake, as I think I looked on his channel and looked for more content that this guy made. I couldn't really find any. Again, this was just a weird video that was just weird for the sake of being weird. EDAREM, Pretty Woman. This would be a video that would start out very weird, get pretty wholesome, and then get very dark. As this was a video of an old man lip-syncing the song Pretty Woman. and it would be created by a man named Edward Munsker back in 2009. Now, originally when people saw it, they thought this was sort of just a weird video on the internet, sort of kind of creepy, you know? It was mainly because of the way he looked. And then a lot of people kind of thought that that was wrong, and then they kind of just said, oh, this is an old man being himself on YouTube. So it got a lot of love for a time being. But then it would come out that in the video, Edward Munsker would actually be a registered sex offender. And that would make this video so incredibly dark. So the story is, and not story, the actual thing that happened is he was a registered sex offender for, I say this without getting demonetized, even though I'm not monetized. He would basically do stuff with a 12-year-old boy. He got, arrested, found out, and he was tried, and he had to apply. He had to basically sign up and say that he's a sex offender. And of course, like any sex offender, he was completely banished to the shadow realms and the gulag. Apparently, he didn't like that too much. He didn't like that. And so he left the state to kind of find a better place to live. Or he to kind of escape his past. And then he would start his YouTube channel. Now, that YouTube channel would actually be the thing that put him back in the limelight of the law, as he was not allowed to actually have access to the internet. And so the police found out what he was up to, and because he didn't actually re-register as a sex offender in his new state, the cops arrested him again, and now I think he is still in jail serving his sentence because A, he wasn't allowed to be on the internet, and B, you're not allowed to leave your state and not re-register as a sex offender in that state. The weird thing is that the video I ended up doing a bit of research, and then I found this history video about Edward, and the comments on that video were just so weird. I don't know why, but because there was a lot of videos that were saying oh, he was trying to change his life, and they were trying to be supportive of him. And I don't know why, I just found that really weird, because you could tell they all knew that he was a registered sex offender. And they knew of his crimes because they were watching the same video I did that was explaining his past and his history. And it was just something sickening that I don't know, I couldn't, that just had a bitter taste in my mouth. Field.
Stuffed in your face as usual.
I gotta have a good meal.
Garfield, you fat cat. You are so big and fat. Why are you...
Now this would be a MS Paint animation of Garfield by Plot Red Sun, which will be the last time you see them on the channel, on the Iceberg, but it would be a video where Garfield, John, and Odie, content that would only be understood now than back in 2013. Again, the video just screams 2023 humor. I can't really explain it beyond that. If it was on my shorts or TikTok, I understand it more than I would back in the day. Jimin Bent videos. Now, this would be a man who would also be well known as the Sitting and Smiling Man, and this would be because he would make these hour-long streams, live streams, where he would just sit and smile. Now this was before really live streaming was heavily popular in the internet sphere, so it was odd that someone was live streaming for that long, but also he was just sitting and smiling. So people would end up finding out that this was considered an endurance challenge, as he would just sit there for hours on end and smile. It would even go as far as in some of the videos you could see him urinating on himself because he couldn't move. And in another video, he was literally robbed. There was a man who came in, stole some of his stuff, looked into the camera, looked at him, and left. Which is just crazy. And I couldn't imagine doing that for a video. Double King. Now this would be an animated film created by Felix Cottrell, released back in 2017, which shows this bug thing in his Thanos style quest to gain all the crowns, but he ends up failing and losing all of his crowns. And again, this is one of the ones where, again, as I said, it is very weird, but you can tell there was a whole lot of talent and a whole lot of heart that went into this, because there's a really good story that happens in this, I think it's 5-minute short, and I very much enjoy it. It's a very cute short, very nice, very pleasant short. This would end off layer 3. So, thank you for sticking around for part 3 of the weirdest YouTube videos ever, Iceberg. As I said, this is where we're gonna start seeing a lot more of the weirder aspects and not a lot of like horror aspects on this Iceberg. If you enjoyed, put a comment down below what you think is the weirdest video you've seen on the platform. Please give the video a like, as it shows the algorithm that I'm doing something right. And subscribe if you want to see the rest of the Iceberg, or if you want to go watch the previous Iceberg. Again, there is also a playlist in the description, and as I said, every single video that I mentioned in this Iceberg will be put down there as well, if you want to go give it a watch for yourself. But with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm glad you guys it seems like enjoyed the content, not just the Iceberg content, but the regular content that I have on my channel, and I can't say this enough, but thank you. I'm very glad you're enjoying. Again, this whole YouTube thing seemed like a pipe dream a long time ago, and you know, when I was originally watching these videos for this Iceberg, but now it's seeming to be somewhat real. I just can't thank you all enough. I'm glad you guys stuck around, and I'm hoping you guys stick around for the rest of the Iceberg. Thank you all, and good night.